Thierry Nivlet from FoxInCloud, and today I would like to show you how to perform the adaptation called move response code to the callback. This is the adaptation that is the most difficult to understand, so I think this video can help you. I will work for this demo, I will work on a sample application which is provided with the FoxInCloud web application studio that you can download for free on our site. And this sample installs in VFP9 tools AB, AW, samples, tastrade, sandbox. Okay. To be very sure, you can be very sure that you have something really fresh. You can copy everything from the original directory to the sandbox. So once you've done that, you open your Adaptation Assistant and then you select the project. So you gotta go to this place, as I said. So it's program, VFP9, tools, AB, AW, samples, tastrade, sandbox, and you take the tastradeFiC project. So we shall analyze it. Okay, it's going to be pretty fast. It's a little project that you can use to learn how to adapt your application, because actually you also have the adapted project here that you can study how the project is once it's adapted correctly. So I will share my results. Okay, and I close. And you have some tips like here. So I suggest that you read these tips. And if you no longer want to see them, you just click this box. So the adaptation I'm talking about is this one, which is here, user decision required. So in this example, as you can see, it's you have a do form to a certain result, and this result will be used to do some further processing. So that's a situation where everything that is after this code should be moved to a callback method. So let's go, and I will switch to source mode here because I want to make the adaptations. If you stay in copy mode, you can't do the adaptation, otherwise it will be lost once you copy again. I mean, once the project is copied again. So the copy mode is just intended to help you make sure that your adapted application still works the same on the desktop as it usually does. But if you want to really make the adaptation, you got to go to the source mode. So source mode will again analyze the whole code, as it already did 5 minutes ago. But it's important that you switch to source mode before doing any adaptation. And I say, okay, share my results. Okay. Now I will do the automated adaptation, which is step 2, adapt. Okay, I will adapt everything. So here we need to make sure that you're running FoxInCloud Adaptation Assistant as an administrator, because we need to update the files. So in my case, it's already set, so I use this button, already set, resume. So I say, okay, did you back up? You don't really need to back up because you're working on a sample application, which is a copy of another one, so you don't really have this question. So where should I locate my class library? As you know, FoxInCloud will create a class library for you, which is a subclass of the FoxInCloud classes. So you need to decide where to store that, and automatically FoxInCloud will see whether you already have a folder where you have such VCXs. So this one is fine to me. So the suffix I'm going to use is what am I going to take? I'm going to take TST, like test, and I will keep all these unchanged. So now FoxInCloud is really changing the code in the application. And again, as it's a demo application, it's not a problem. You can write and change it as many times as you want. So it's not an issue here. So let's wait until the adaptation completes. It's not going to take very long, I think. It's running now. So There are some steps to go through. It's the adaptation is it's a huge process. It's a huge program. So be patient because it's doing so many things and you can't even imagine how far it goes and how many things it does. So let's wait for a couple of seconds again. Okay, so now it's changing the classes, as you can see here, replacing, it's changing the native classes grid by your subclass of grid, label by your subclass of label, etc., etc. So, and I think it looks like it's already, no, it's not done yet. Option group, page frame, no, it's going through all the base classes until it's finished. And once this is done, your application has, the base classes has changed now. They are all now all your form controls, everything is based on your subclasses of the FoxInCloud classes, which are called AW something. When you see AW, it means the FoxInCloud layer. So now it's going through, it's checking some auto controls, as you can see, like tree view, image view, etc. Now it's adapting the code for real. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You see here you have the count here, 6, 7, 8 out of 20, 9 out of 20. So this is 20. These are the classes that are used, the base classes that are used in this project. We have 20 base classes like text box, label, etc. And FoxInCloud Adaptation Assistant is going through all these classes. So now it looks like it's compiling now. So okay, it's asking me to ignore, so I ignore. Okay, successfully adapted. Oh, another tip that you can adapt your project over and over. If you make changes to your code, then you can always adapt it automatically. You don't have to adapt new code manually. You can go through the Adaptation Assistant. No, I don't want to. So now I will get back to the adaptation that we've seen, which is user decision required. So let's see so we're going to review the code, which is now the adapted code. So we are in a double click. We are in the grid of orders. So as I want to show you the form to realize what happens here. So you have a form with a list of customer. You have the customer details here, and you have the list of orders of this customer. And if you double click on this, on a row of this list, then you will open a subform to modify the order. The form is simply called order. So here, this code, which is a double click now of the grid orders, it has a block of code that was added, which tells FoxInCloud how to process this event. Would you process this event using your FoxPro code? Would you use JavaScript code, or would you ignore the event? In this case, which is I would say the default, we return true, which means process event on the server, which means simply run this code. I mean, when you will be running your application in web mode, it will simply run the code. If you double click the grid in the browser, it will go to the server and run the code, which is here, which is what you would expect, wouldn't you? So now what happens here is we have this call to the form. You remember we had a do form. Now it's been replaced automatically by this instruction. And now we need to move the code, which is here, to a callback method. Okay? So everything that is here needs to go into a callback method. And so if we have this result, if the form here has changed something, if user has modified the order, we need to go and ask him a question: do you want to save these changes? But the first step here is to move everything that's below. So let's go. We take this, okay, we cut it, and we go into a method that is supplied by FoxInCloud, which is called wform callback. Okay, this method is here, and what happens here I'm going to do some cleaning. Sorry. And what happens here is that let make it a little larger. So we're gonna increase this and go to 16 maybe. I will apply to method code. Okay. So the form will answer true or false, and we need to test this result here. If true, then I need to continue. So what I'm going to do here, simply, I'm going to change this name here. I'm going to call it LL result. And then if I LL result, I display the message box. So now we have another answer here, which is coming back from the message box, which is 6 like true, yes, or 7 like no. So I need to split the code again. And by the way, here there's something that was not properly adapted. So I do, and the test here will be moved to the callback method. So if the user has modified the order, I need to ask him the second question: do you want to save this order? And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to process the result in another form, another method, which is called wform callback1. And this code here will move to wform callback1. I'm going to do this immediately. Okay. And the question is, if 6 equals to m.tu user choice, then I do this. Oh, I missed an end if here. Here I am. Okay, I got it. I got. Now I've split my code between the methods. So I'm gonna check that everything is in order. So let's go up here, wform callback. So if modify, I send the message box, okay, and then I get back to my original code here. So now what I need to do here, I need to replace this true, which means modal, by wform callback, which is the method that I've chosen to move my code to. Okay? So now I'm complete. But here we have a little trick, is that this variable here, this variable which is called nOrder, is used by the called method. Here you can see that this uses nOrder here, and the other one too uses nOrder, yes, here. So obviously something here won't work because the variable that is defined here will disappear when this method ends. When this goes to the end, this variable will disappear. So what we need to do here to make this variable persistent is to change it into a property. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go to init of this grid, and I will say this dot add property, and I will call it the same. I will call it nOrder, and I will define initial value equals to null, because I know that null can be combined with anything, so I don't have the risk of having a data type mismatch. And here I have a parameter telling me call do default anywhere in your code. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do, and by habit, I always return do default in case I have a parent method that delivers some result. Okay, that's it. And I'm done. So now I have a property, and I need to change the variable into a property everywhere from here down to the other methods. So let's go and say it's not this, it's not nOrder, it's this dot nOrder. This I can remove it. I don't use this variable anymore. This one I can remove. And I need to change
in the WForm callback 1. So I need to get my n order here. This dot n order. And also to the WForm callback 2. And I can this dot n order. Okay? So now I can check whether my code works or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open my project. So let's do that. Modify project. Do I have it in the list here? No, I don't have it. So I'm going to pick it. Fortunately, I'm not too far away here. So I'm going to go to samples, tastrade, sandbox, tastradeFiC. Okay. So as you know, we have changed this form, the customer's form. We have added some here. We have added 2 callback forms, and we're going to make sure that it still works, at least in desktop mode. So let's run that. So we are with the customer form. Okay. We still open the child form. That's fine. If we don't modify, no question. If we modify, let's say this, and we close, we see here the form says it's modified. If we close, we get a question. If we say no, it doesn't go any further. If we do that, we modify, we say yes, we have the second message box. Okay? So it means that the adaptation has split the code between 3 methods without affecting the way it works. Okay? So now what we're going to do is test this in web mode. So to do that, I will take the adapted project, because otherwise we need to set up the server, etc. So let's go directly to the adapted project, which is here. By the way, this project is installed on your computer when you install the FoxInCloud Web Application Studio. It's installed automatically. So you can do the same as me here, or you can even do it from the menu if you want. It's even more simple. You go here and you call Web Local Classic, or if you prefer, you can also use the Bootstrap mode. Well, let's go for Classic now. Yes, so it should work. Let's see what is going on. Yes, doesn't seem to work. So I'm gonna start the project myself. Oh yes, it does. It works. Yeah, there was something waiting. Okay. So here we are. We got the task traders. And oh yeah, maybe you want to check that the code, the adapted code, is the one I've shown you. It's almost the same. I guess it's almost the same. Let's make it sure. Yeah, we have the double click. Double click calls WForm callback. That's okay. And WForm callback. Yeah, it's the same. WForm callback 1. We have the property here, and WForm callback here. Also, oops, there is a no, it's okay. It's a character. Okay. Here. So let's get back and let's restart the application. So, okay, it's working fine. Okay, it started. So we're gonna reload the form. Okay, let's go to orders. So if I double click, I get to the order form, which is here. By the way, you can move the form. This one you can resize. Sometimes you can resize, but not this one. Okay, it's modified. Okay, the same as we had, modified. So now it will go to the callback. And the callback will ask me, do you want to save changes? And if I say yes, it will tell me changes to order number 63. You remember the order number here? It's in the property, and we have it here. It went to the callback method and say yes. And if you want to make sure that what has happened,
You see here, grid order, it's a little truncated, but W form callback. This is the method that have executed, or you can also see it here. If you go down to the yeah, W form callback 1, which is the second one, and first we had the W form callback. Callback, callback 1. Okay, so we did go through the callback method, which is absolutely yeah, it is absolutely necessary, because otherwise we would be if you take the debugger, if you take any form with a modal form. Let's open, for instance, the original. Let's open the original project, maybe. Okay. Original tastraders, tastradeFiC. If you run the form here, run, and you go to here, you double click, see what happens. The execution is stopped here on the do form. So it means that if you are on a web application, it means that the server will stop here on this instruction, which is absolutely impossible, because the server needs to be able to serve other users somewhere. That's why we do it differently after adaptation. So let's see how it looks like when it's adapted. Okay. Yes, I need to get out here. It's a little menu. So if I go to sandbox, maybe. Yeah. And I double click here. We're gone through all the FoxInCloud method, and you see here that you have different processing, whether you are in web mode, desktop mode, or web mode. If you are here, you have a different processing, which means that we'll be able to continue the processing and don't stop like we do here in desktop mode. So FoxInCloud makes sure that thanks to the FoxInCloud method that you inherit from the FoxInCloud base classes, you can deal with all the situations. And okay, as you can see here, sandbox, ox, yeah, you go here, and you take the grid order, double click. You see that we have another way to call forms just for this reason. Oh, okay, I hope it was clear enough. It's always difficult to explain such a thing, but if you review this video, I think you will be able to understand the principle that each time you have a modal situation, you need to move all the code that is below to a callback method, and you have up to 10 callback methods with each object. Okay, thank you for listening, and feel free to comment this video and say whether it was clear enough for you. Thank you.